In the realm of gender and identity, few scholars have ignited as much intellectual fervor as Judith Butler. Her seminal work, Gender Trouble, published in the year 1990, sent shockwaves through academia and beyond. It challenged deeply ingrained assumptions about sex, gender, and the relationship between them. In this video, we examine the heart of Butler's groundbreaking ideas, exploring their impact on feminist thought and their continued relevance in contemporary society today. Butler's work emerges from a lineage of feminist thinkers who questioned the naturalization of gender roles. She takes these critiques a step further, arguing that gender is not an inherent essence, but a performance. This performance, she posits, is not a matter of individual choice, but is produced and reinforced through societal norms and expectations. Butler's work disrupted the traditional binary understanding of gender, paving the way for a more fluid and inclusive understanding of identity. Central to Butler's argument is the notion of gender performativity. She contends that gender is not something we are, but something we do. Through repeated acts, gestures, and behaviors, we perform our gender, and in doing so, we inadvertently reinforce its supposed naturalness. This performance, however, is not a solo act. It unfolds within a social context, shaped by cultural norms, power dynamics, and historical forces. Butler challenges the idea that there is a causal link between sex, gender, and desire. She argues that these categories are interconnected, but not inherently determined by one another. Her work disrupts the traditional assumption that biological sex dictates gender identity and sexual orientation. This deconstruction of the sex-gender-desire nexus was groundbreaking and opened up new possibilities for understanding the fluidity of identity. Gender Trouble was met with both acclaim and controversy. Many scholars and activists embraced its radical insights, hailing it as a groundbreaking work that revolutionized feminist thought. Butler's ideas resonated with those who had long questioned the constraints of binary gender categories and sought a more inclusive understanding of identity. However, Butler's work also faced significant resistance, particularly from those who felt it undermined traditional values and social structures. Some critics argued that her theories were too abstract and disconnected from the lived experiences of women. Others accused her of promoting a form of radical individualism that ignored the material realities of gender oppression. Despite the controversies, Gender Trouble sparked widespread debate and discussion about the nature of gender, sexuality, and identity. It challenged long-held assumptions and forced scholars and the public alike to confront the limitations of binary thinking. This intellectual ferment, while often uncomfortable, was ultimately productive, leading to a more nuanced and multifaceted understanding of gender. More than 3 decades after its publication, Gender Trouble continues to be a touchstone for understanding gender in all its complexity. Butler's ideas remain relevant in a world grappling with issues of transgender rights, gender nonconformity, and the fluidity of identity. Her work provides a framework for understanding the challenges faced by those who transgress gender norms. The ongoing debates surrounding transgender rights, for example, highlight the importance of Butler's work. Her insights into the constructed nature of gender offer a powerful critique of discriminatory laws and policies that seek to restrict individuals' freedom to express their gender identity. Gender Trouble reminds us that gender is not a fixed or stable category, and that attempts to enforce rigid gender norms are ultimately futile and harmful. Butler's work has also been influential in challenging the gender binary in education, healthcare, and the workplace. Her ideas have informed efforts to create more inclusive environments that recognize and respect the diversity of gender identities and expressions. Gender Trouble continues to inspire activists, educators, and policymakers to work towards a more just and equitable world for all genders. A legacy of inquiry: Butler's impact on feminist thought. Judith Butler's work has had a profound and lasting impact on feminist theory and activism. Her ideas have challenged traditional feminist frameworks, prompting a re-examination of key concepts such as women, patriarchy, and liberation. Gender Trouble has been particularly influential in the development of queer theory, which challenges heteronormative assumptions and celebrates the diversity of sexualities and gender identities. Butler's work has also sparked important conversations about the intersections of gender with other forms of identity, such as race, class, and disability. Her emphasis on the socially constructed nature of identity categories has helped to illuminate the ways in which these categories intersect and interact to shape experiences of oppression and privilege. Butler's legacy extends beyond academia. Her ideas have permeated popular culture, influencing art, literature, and film. Her work has provided a language for understanding and articulating the experiences of those who have been marginalized and silenced by dominant gender norms. Gender Trouble continues to inspire new generations of thinkers and activists to challenge injustice and create a more equitable world. Beyond the academy, Gender Trouble in popular culture. While Gender Trouble is undoubtedly a work of complex academic theory, its influence extends far beyond the confines of university classrooms. Butler's ideas have seeped into the public consciousness, shaping conversations about gender and identity in popular culture. From television shows and films to music and fashion, the echoes of Gender Trouble can be felt in the ways gender is represented and challenged. One of the most visible impacts of Butler's work has been the increasing visibility and acceptance of transgender and gender non-conforming individuals in mainstream media. Shows like Pose and Euphoria have featured complex transgender characters, while musicians like Sam Smith and Demi Lovato have publicly embraced their fluid gender identities. These representations, while not without their limitations, reflect a growing awareness of the diversity of gender experience, a shift influenced in part by Butler's groundbreaking work. Beyond individual representations, Butler's ideas have also influenced broader cultural conversations about gender norms and expectations. The rise of movements like #MeToo and #TimesUp, which challenge patriarchal power structures and sexual violence, can be seen as part of a larger cultural reckoning with gender inequality, a reckoning fueled in part by feminist scholars like Butler, who have dared to question the status quo. Critiques and controversies, navigating the storm. Despite its widespread influence, Gender Trouble has not been without its critics. Some scholars have argued that Butler's focus on gender performativity neglects the material realities of sex and the body. They contend that while gender may be socially constructed, biological differences between sexes cannot be ignored. Others have criticized Butler's work for being overly abstract and inaccessible to those outside of academia, arguing that her dense prose and complex theoretical framework limit the reach and impact of her ideas. Another point of contention has been Butler's stance on the relationship between feminism and transgender rights. Some feminist scholars have accused Butler of prioritizing the experiences of transgender individuals over those of cisgender women, arguing that her work undermines the category of woman as a meaningful political category. These critiques, while often debated and contested, highlight the complexities and nuances within feminist thought and the ongoing conversations about how to create a more inclusive and liberatory movement. Despite these critiques, Gender Trouble remains a seminal work in feminist theory, one that continues to spark debate and discussion. The controversies surrounding Butler's work are a testament to its enduring power and relevance. They remind us that the project of understanding gender is ongoing, and that there is no single definitive answer to the question of what it means to be a man, a woman, or anything in between. The ongoing relevance of Gender Trouble. In an era marked by both progress and backlash on issues of gender and sexuality, Judith Butler's work remains as relevant as ever. Her insights into the constructed nature of gender, the power of language to shape our understanding of identity, and the importance of challenging binary thinking continue to resonate deeply in contemporary society. As debates rage on about transgender rights, gender nonconformity, and the very meaning of gender itself, Butler's work provides a critical lens through which to navigate these complex and often contentious issues. The rise of anti-transgender legislation in various parts of the world underscores the urgent need for Butler's insights. These laws, often framed as protecting women and children, rely on a narrow and exclusionary understanding of gender, one that Butler's work directly challenges. By highlighting the fluid and performative nature of gender, Gender Trouble provides a powerful counter-narrative to these discriminatory policies, affirming the rights of all individuals to live authentically and express their gender identity freely. Beyond the realm of policy and law, Butler's work also offers valuable insights into the personal and social challenges faced by those who transgress gender norms. Her exploration of the ways in which gender is policed and enforced through social interactions, cultural expectations, and institutional structures sheds light on the subtle and not-so-subtle forms of discrimination experienced by gender non-conforming individuals. A call to action, embracing gender's fluidity. Judith Butler's Gender Trouble is more than just a theoretical treatise. It's a call to action. It's an invitation to question, to challenge, and to imagine a world beyond the constraints of the gender binary. It encourages us to embrace the fluidity and complexity of gender, to recognize the multiplicity of ways in which gender is lived, experienced, and expressed. It urges us to move beyond simplistic categories and embrace the richness and diversity of human identity. This call to action is not just for academics or activists, it's for all of us. It's about examining our own assumptions about gender, confronting our own biases, and working to create a more just and equitable world for all individuals, regardless of their gender identity or expression. It's about listening to and amplifying the voices of those who have been marginalized and silenced, and it's about using our voices and our actions to challenge discrimination and promote understanding. As we navigate the complexities of gender in the 21st century, Judith Butler's work remains an invaluable guide. It reminds us that the journey towards gender justice is ongoing and that it requires constant vigilance, critical reflection, and a willingness to challenge the status quo. It's a journey that demands both individual and collective action, and it's a journey that promises to lead us towards a more inclusive and liberatory future. As always, we thank you for joining us here at Philosophical Flicks for another episode and look forward to seeing you in the next. Until we meet again, take care of yourselves and each other.